All right, welcome back to my A plus setups. Last week we had some pretty solid, decent moves with FOMC, and here we can see the dollar index. This week we do have CPI and PPI for the U.S. dollar, and you can see here on the dollar we are still holding support above this level of demand here on the weekly. All right, so just like I was expecting last week, I was expecting another wave up on the dollar. It formed pretty much inverse head and shoulders here and gave that pump to the upside. Now looking to the left, we are around this level of structure, this previous level of structure demand. But I am still leaning towards another wave up on the dollar. Now, I'm still expecting a bigger move to the downside, but I'm leaning towards us getting another wave up, like a bigger wave up before price continues that move. All right, because looking at structure up here, I mean, if we continue up and close above this level, then we could see price have a deeper correction, maybe back towards structure levels here before price continues. All right, because we could look at this on the weekly and we could see major levels where price could continue. We could see even over here, this is a major supply top. All right, so maybe pushing towards those levels before price continue to the downside. All right, so that's what I'm looking for potentially on a dollar index, and we'll see how the dollar pairs could shape up or trade in line with that bias. On Euro USD, if you remember the last, my A plus setups from last week, I was anticipating EU to give us this wave down, pushing into this major level of structure where it was supply top in the past. This signal was actually given out. It hit our TP2 perfectly over 100 pips. And now we're at an interesting level. Okay, so from this perspective, um, I would need to see EU break below this level, basically around 1.12. All right, which is like I said, a major supply top in the past. All right, so if EU comes down, you can see a pullback to end the week. If it comes down, breaks below here, then I would look for a potential opportunity on a pullback or retest to catch that wave down, because that would give me the confirmation I need, breaking below this level and looking to the left. If we break below here, we could head down towards these levels, anywhere between 1.07 to 1.05, right? Those are areas I would look for potential targets. And we just play it like that. All right. But from this perspective, got to be patient, allow structure to develop and see how price is going to react at this level. So with GU, we're still trading up in this major supply level. It's still failing to break. It's still rejecting from this level, as we see here on the weekly. Now, if we go down to the daily, last week it had a bit of a drop. When it came up here, I caught some of the sell off. Sorry about that. So it's looking like a head and shoulders here, right? It came up, basically gave his right shoulder, and it gave a rejection down. But to end the week, we see it pumped back up. So we had this daily just pumped up bullish. And with everything coming with like CPI and different fundamental events this week, I do expect a move to happen on GU. I'm still leaning towards it holding this top, giving us a top to give us a wave down. So that's my bias, especially with my bias being bullish on the dollar index right now. We could potentially set up for that. So, of course, I'm going to react to whatever the market gives. These are just what I'm leaning towards. But still, we don't want to get in full prediction mode. We just want to react to what price action shows us. So this did give a pullback, maybe potentially pull up a little higher, form a rejection off the trend line, maybe a lower high to set up for this wave down. So I am still leaning towards that. Or you can expect or wait for price. If price comes down and breaks below this level of structure, basically break below 1.32, could look for the pullback or retest to catch that wave down, because a break below there will be key, stronger confirmation for a bigger wave down. And looking to the left, you can see this was a nice resistant top as well. All right. And then just looking even further to the left, like based off the daily, this is the areas of structure, I would look for price to come into. All right. So gold could be due for another correction to the downside. We can see up here at these levels, price had a nice engulfing breakdown, pullback, And then we had a break below this level of structure here to the left where we had resistance. All right. So this was a nice opportunity on this breakdown, retest, and then we gave a wave down. To end last week, it gave this pullback, correction of this move. So looking at this, we could be setting up potentially for another wave down towards these support structure lows. Um, Early on, maybe it pulls back up, give that liquidity grab or something before going. But I would like to see how it react opening the week. Where it's at right now, this could be potentially the pullback that breaks down. But I wouldn't be surprised if early in the week it gives a correction up first before giving that move down. So we'll see how things set up. But I am leaning towards, especially if the dollar gives another wave up and everything goes in line with that, then that makes more sense for gold to give that wave to the downside. All right. So we'll see how things unfold. And last pair on my watch list for now going into this week is USDCAD. All right. So we can see here at this level on the weekly. All right. Looking to the left, this was a major or a strong level of resistance, strong level of supply. Nice range basically as well. But you can see that's a nice level. And if we measure this out, this is a over 700 pip range. So nice level. And here on the weekly, it just closed an engulfing. So this weekly candle just gave us a bullish engulfing, showing that the buyers are in control of this market likely. And the fact that it gave us a bullish engulfing around this strong level of structure, closing above it, that's a good sign that we could be heading up higher before any more downside on USD CAD. All right, so looking at it from that perspective, even here on the daily, we got a nice break above. So I would like to see if price gives a nice retest, all right, a nice pullback or retest early in the week, that could be the opportunity to look to take this long. So something along the lines comes back for this pullback or retest. It could be the setup to look to take higher. All right. So that's what I'm going to be watching on USD CAD. It's a simple pullback and just keep it simple. All right. So let's just be patient. Let the market come to us. What a lot of people mess up in trading, man, is just over trading, not sitting on their hands. The market pays the patient. So you just got to be patient, allow the A+ setup to develop, and then execute. All right. Be sure to like and subscribe if you are new here. Everything will be in the description below. Join a free Telegram. If you want to tap into VIP, you can do that as well. If you are in VIP, I will keep you all up to date on any signals. And in the Telegram, I continue to post the potential setups I'm looking for. All right. So just stay plugged in and let's catch these pips. All right. Y'all be blessed.